Welcome to Poland Daily History with me, Nicholas Richardson. We will start this episode by discussing the threat that Prussia posed to Poland, followed by discussion on the mechanisms behind the fall of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth at the end of the 18th century.
This was where Prussia came from, this remnant of the Teutonic Knights that was allowed to remain in the area as long as they swore allegiance to the Polish king. Unfortunately, over time, for the Poles, they grew stronger and stronger. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth grew weaker and weaker. There is this famous painting of Stańczyk, this Polish jester who was trying to convince the Polish king that something had to be done about Prussia. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Prussia grew so strong that at the end of the 18th century, they were able to become one of the three partitioning powers that divided up Poland, or the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, in three rounds of partitions.
That's right, 1772, 1793 and 1795.
That's right. This development had been coming for quite a while. You could say that Poland really lost their independence at the start of the 18th century when the Russians started playing such an important role that practically nothing could be decided in the Polish parliament from 1717, 1719, and then for another couple of decades we have the war of the Polish succession, which showed that the Poles were no longer masters in their own house. But of course, this had also started with the deluge, with the Swedish invasion in the mid 1700. But it accelerated at the start of the 18th century, and by the end, as you mentioned, there were three waves of partitions.
In comparison, say, with countries like England, I think Poland in the 18th century was very badly served by its aristocracy.
Yes.
I think this was the problem. There was no unifying, or it seems to me that there was no really unifying view of what Poland should be, but it's sort of groups who were in the pay of one of the surrounding three powers and had an interest in causing chaos.
It wasn't made easier by the way our state functioned. According to this noble democracy that had developed over the centuries, initially imported from Hungary, where the Hungarian nobility had also won great powers, and later when we accepted various new kings, they had to swear allegiance to the nobility and give them more and more power more and more power to the nobility, so that they would accept the king. So this elected monarchy that we had, which initially functioned well, over time degenerated, and with it degenerated the class of the Polish political elite, and the fact that we had liberum veto, which meant that it was enough that one vote in parliament, one person would not agree with a parliamentary session, and everything that had been agreed on during that session would be thrown out the window immediately. So it became very easy for foreign powers, and the Russians especially specialized in this, of corrupting one. Normally they would have more of them, but one was enough to get them to throw out reforms that would have strengthened central power in Poland and strengthened the Polish army. Unfortunately, as we saw, this was something that the Poles, there was an attempt with the May 3rd constitution.
I was going to say, at that point, that was actually quite an enlightened constitution. It's just sad that all these problems had essentially been addressed in that constitution, but only was in operation for 2 years.
Yes, it was absolutely too late. If the constitution would have been written 2-3 generations earlier, then maybe it would have helped. But naturally, that is unfortunately not what happened. So with Prussia becoming one of the partitioning powers, they annexed large areas of Western Poland, especially the regions around the city of Poznań, which was always the center of Polishness ever since the days of Mieszko I. German hostility to everything Polish was also very, very visible in the Iron Chancellor
Bismarck.
Otto von Bismarck,
Yes.
who had a truly horrible quote. Now I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it word by word, but he was more or less saying, we need complete annihilation for the Poles. I feel sorry for them, but the wolf was created as the way he was by God, and
but people still shoot him for it.
People try to shoot him for it. So if we look forward to the Second World War, you could say that they certainly acted as wolves, but also maybe they forgot what Bismarck said, and people did shoot at them from all directions when they acted in that way. And in the end, the wolf was caught, and its skin was, and it was skinned. So it's maybe this Bismarck quote shows that once you act in a certain way, then people also unite against you. But this was this racism would really accelerate during the end of the 19th century and the start of the 20th century. This is, of course, the time of Darwinism and all of these biological ideas about certain people being genetically predisposed to dominate other people. And those ideas took deep root in Germany well before Hitler arrived on the scene. So even during the First World War, when Germany and the German army managed to take control of a large part of Central and Eastern Europe, even in 1916, by the Act of 5th of November, the Austrians and the Germans created this Polish puppet state, which was ruled by the Regency Council, this marionette government formed here in Poland. But the Germans had other ideas for this part of Europe. After the Brest-Litovsk Treaty in 1917 with Russia, which had already gone through its revolution in its first phase and had sued for peace, they really took control of a large swath of what is today Poland and Western Ukraine and the Baltic states. And here they started implementing this Lebensraum policy, you could say, before the formulation of Lebensraum by the Nazi Party. They wanted to colonize these areas of Europe. They wanted the local population to work for them as some form of forced labor that was not supposed to receive any education. There were plans and thoughts for how to reduce the population number of these people by either starvation or interfering with their reproduction or just outright killing. So these ideas would resurface during the Second World War, but they were already evident during the First World War.
Alas, I've had to bring Adam to a halt almost in mid-sentence. But don't worry, we'll pick up the story again next time on Poland Daily History. Thank you for watching this far, and we hope to see you again on Poland Daily History when we pick up the story. Thank you for watching.